Greetings, everyone. This is Hong Long from Hong Long Wuxia, and I made a post earlier today on Facebook, and I'm just gonna. I thought I should make a video on it. I'm gonna read the post. I'll probably add a few things to it, but because there's quite a bit to add. The thing is I'm really tired. I'm so tired of seeing all of my brothers and sisters in arms being betrayed on a daily basis, whether it's in the workplace, the schools, or the commons. My ire has been raised in this particular instance by the constant barrage of posts I've been seeing on Facebook. The divestment's working. Specifically about Evergreen College being the first to divest from Israel. And these memes have been going like crazy for the last week. But you know, divestment from Israel by the United States or by United States universities and colleges, it's a pipe dream. And outside of very small liberal arts colleges or vocational schools, it's not going to happen. And this pipe dream is fostered by a pseudo-left formations that are attempting to control and wind down this movement against genocide. Not real leaders who are pushing the bounds of bourgeois politics in any sense of the form. I've been seeing the meme for over a week, and I finally did some checking this morning. And imagine my complete lack of surprise to find out that Evergreen College has not, let me repeat, has not divested from Israel, nor has, what was the other one I've seen? This is not written down here. California University at Santa Clara, I think they say. No. Also did not divest, nor any of the reams of other ones. They haven't divested. And they don't intend to. What has been done in the case of Evergreen College is that in exchange for shutting down the encampment and the protest, the college has agreed to look into the possibility of divestment after committees have been formed and a separate task force has been appointed to, quote, develop a definition for socially responsible investing, end quote. As if in this day and age that's even possible. What corporation doesn't have blood on their hands? Let me give you a hint. Zero. There are 4 committees. Why 4? Isn't 1 enough? They're going to begin looking into 4 separate policy questions, and while they're expected to file quarterly reports, recommendations are not due until the fall quarter. The memo of understanding that was signed between protesters and the university does not specify whether that's going to be at the end or the beginning. While there will be 3 students to 2 faculty members each on the committee, these committees will also be staffed by appointments from the president, and no details as to how many appointments he or she is allowed to make to said committee. In other words, Evergreen has agreed to nothing, while the student leadership is agreed to call off all protests as well as to disperse the encampments. Yet, for a week, I've been hearing this meme and seeing it with no opposition. Let's be clear. Divestment is a strategy that is designed to fail. Yes, but what about South Africa in the 80s? That worked? No, not really. But let's compare and contrast, shall we? In the 80s, there were a number of blockbuster films released by Hollywood denouncing apartheid, including Cry Freedom with Denzel Washington, who now exclusively makes right-wing trash. And Gandhi, another movie which garnered a number of Oscars. In the 80s, a good part of the liberal intelligentsia were up in arms over the apartheid regime in South Africa. Not so today. Today's liberal intelligentsia is nothing of the sort. And the few films that have been released which accurately portray the violence being carried out by Israel are small budget independent films that generally do not see the inside of a cinema. And today's liberal intelligentsia, I know it's kind of an oxymoron, I know, but they're all busy braying for genocide while slandering protesters as anti-Semitic. There is no part of the current political establishment that does not lend its full support behind the Zionists, including the anti-Semites among them. Also, while there has been a major protest movement in Israel demanding Netanyahu's ouster and against anti-democratic measures instituted by their Supreme Court, the challenge from below has not approached an existential one for the Israeli state, as all of the leaders of those protests support the Israeli state. Unlike in South Africa, which had been facing a revolutionary movement from below for decades. And that movement was gaining more and more momentum, both internally and externally. Also, and not a small point, U.S. universities were not tied to South Africa by a million threads of military funding, but rather they held investments in the Krugerrand and diamond mines and such. To divest from Israel, unis would not only have to divest from Israeli corporations, but all U.S. defense contractors and others in the military intelligence industry. And this is something that the universities not only will not do willingly, but they cannot, without acquiring another source of funding that, barring a social revolution, will not be forthcoming, as all universities and college, save the smallest, are tied by a million threads to the defense intelligence industries, which are fully intertwined with the Israeli war machine. Just like in the workplace, students need to take the struggle out of the hands of the pseudo-left demagogues and put it into their own through the creation of democratically controlled rank-and-file committees that are independent of the union bureaucracies and all the capitalist parties, and then to junk the junk demands of the misleaders and then issue real demands. The call should be to turn to the working class, which is the only force that can and will put a stop to this genocide and the ever-expanding arena of World War III. Appeals to those that are actively carrying out or covering for a genocide that is being broadcast to billions will only fall on deaf ears. In fact, they welcome your appeals, because while you are wasting time appealing to them to stop being a monster, the slaughter continues, because the weapons keep getting produced and they keep getting delivered. Next time, don't shout divest, shout for and organize for an international general strike. It should also be pointed out that the turn to the working class will not fall on deaf ears, but it will have to be done through the student rank and file committees themselves, as the same people taking over the leadership of the protests, the ones placing everything on divestment, those guys and gals, those are the same people who have cheered for and brought back one rotten contract after another for workers in the armament and intelligence industries, and in every industry for decades. And the last thing they want is for those workers to go out for any reason. They've spent most of their life's blood attempting to keep them on the factory floor under ever deteriorating living conditions and working conditions brought on after one concessionary contract after another. The workers, though, they also don't support genocide, and they are angry and bitter over the betrayals of their union goons. Student rank and file committees on each campus should reach out to workers at the surrounding plants and workplaces and make contact with existing rank and file committees or help organize new ones. That is how this genocide will be stopped, not by haggling over terminology with fascists. Anything less is like pissing in the wind.